Hello and welcome to Andertons TV. My name is Jack Duxbury, Oz Pals behind the camera. And all the way from Leicester, we have...
Mitch.
Yeah.
So
who are you repping today, Mitch?
I'm repping Audio Technica, distributed in Allen & Heath in the UK. And I wanted to show something pretty cool.
Now, I only know you from Leicester, and we had a nice chat about Leicester.
Yes.
But we deliberately haven't spoken about this, because I get excited when I have like a cold reveal. What is this, and why are we talking about it?
So this is the brand new range from Allen & Heath. This is the Q series. So Q you might be aware of already. So there's the Q16, Q24 and Q32. Now they've been replaced with the Q5, Q6 and Q7. In terms of the range from Allen & Heath, you'll go from CQ, that's the kind of entry level point, and then you'll go to Q, which is the next step up, more inputs and outputs and processing from there, and then SQ, which is your sort of next line from there, you know, look into the professional installs and stuff like that. This is a direct replacement for the Q16, 24 and 32 to give the modern approach for Allen & Heath. So it's, you know, the Q16, 24 and 32 as a 48 kilohertz kind of range are incredible. You know, they've been used across the world for well over 10 years now. Yeah, it's time to really finesse the range and give it that extra update.
Well, you mentioned something there. So 48K, if my memory serves me correctly, we launched the CQ on here.
Yeah.
And that was that 96?
Correct. Yeah, so that's the kind of new FPGA technology. So, all remembered.
Oh, not seen all year.
So that's now kind of included in this now.
Double the
So your sample rate, yeah, you're going from 48 to 96. So with that, a lot more processing power in comparison. So you're getting a lot more in terms of the FX engines as well. What you get on this one, just show you on the buttons here, you've got 6 dedicated FX engines, all with dedicated sends and returns as well. So in terms of FX compatibility and availability from the previous line, you're getting a lot more beef, you know.
Right. Well, sorry for my ignorance. So on the old Q range, this is a new one, what was the equivalent of there? How many effects tracks could we run?
Not as many.
Not as many.
Not
okay.
as many. So.
And then these are 96. What are the other benefits of running at that high sample rate?
Compatibility with the rest of the Allen Heath line.
Okay.
So on the back is a cheeky little port that says S-Link or Slink. I don't know, some people call it.
I like Slink.
That S-Link compatibility there means that things like the Allen Heath DX boxes, the stage boxes, can now run into the Q range, which it couldn't before. With the 48 kilohertz sample rate, it could go with the kind of AR boxes, the AR2412, the AB168 and things like that. But now going into the DX boxes and things like that gives an extra bit of flexibility within each setup now. So you've got a lot more with that. And again, 96 kilohertz as a sample rate is obviously twice the amount of 48. So and
that'll improve things, well, like latency, higher sample rates, things a bit snappier.
Makes latency a lot better. Yeah. So you're getting.
And if you're a monitor guy, you know, you just have that imperceptible, like someone will plug their ears in and probably be like, oh, that sounds better. I find that sometimes when I've moved, I do a lot of stuff on in-ear monitors, I've heard that before. Higher sample rate, more effects.
Absolutely.
That's almost like having 6 bits of rack gear.
Yep. Right,
and you can send it to. Anything else at the top shelf?
This is a cool little new feature. If you look at the Q16, 24 or 32, what you'll see is people usually pop a cheeky bit of tape on to write what it is, guitar,
right, so
vocals.
there weren't, if we've got any listeners out there, because I've often, if you noticed that, we had a few people that are hard of sight, and I realised that we should describe things. What we're talking about there is a scribble strip, right?
Yeah, channel strip fader. So what it is it's a customisable area what you
clear
can
as day as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice and clear, and then if I press the select button on one of the channels, you can see here, input 1 is mic. So I could rename that to whatever I want from whatever it says on the screen here. I could give it numbers and just literally just do that, and you get up to 6 characters. You go any further, it's just not going to let you do it.
That's Oz's
and obviously,
latest favourite band.
Press apply, and there it is.
Sick.
A bit of gobbledygook there for you.
Yeah.
So instead of having to change the tape every time, you just modify it in there. Makes a lot more sense. So that kind of falls in line. If anyone's familiar with the Q series, the SQ series, then that'll be something that feels very familiar.
And SQ, that's the one, the full touring one, is it?
Well, that's the next line up from this. So you go SQ and then you go Avantis and then D-Live.
Okay, you got
so D-Live, yeah, I know. So, but it's catering to everybody, you know, in terms of price point and in terms of options. This has features which the SQ has as well, compressors and stuff which are available on the SQ, but it also has, you know, I/O capabilities. That's where it falls lower in the range. SQ is 48, whereas this is 32. You've got 16 less inputs from that side. So it's from that side you're not getting as many. But if you don't need 48, it's perfect, you know, from that side. And going on from there as well, each one of these Q5, Q6, and Q7 has a D variant, which is D for Dante. So you can get Q5D, which will have a cheeky little Dante port on the back. So what you can then do is send the that's an ordinate audio over IP protocol, so that will then work with other Dante enabled devices on their network. So let's say you've got an install with Dante network already in there, you can pop the Q5D in there and it will work with everything as it would any other device. So nice and
if you don't, I think I know what that means. If for a layman, audio over IP through Ethernet cables.
Exactly. So that's like what the S-Link is as well. So it's similar to that, but it works on a different protocol to work with non-Alan Heath devices as well from that side.
I can see it's coming down into the more like consumer range. That's amazing that it's coming down. Is it a bit more money for the Dante one?
It is a little bit more, but obviously you're getting that extra flexibility within a setup. You know, I know some people use there's like Dante enabled interfaces and stuff like that. And even Alan Heath do a Dante stage box, the DT168. So if you pop that in one room and then a single cable up to 100 meters into there.
Yeah, and it's then, pretty amazing once the penny drops. So you said 567.
567, just like
this
SQ5.
This is the smallest then?
That's the Tony 1 one, yeah.
And it's just 19, will it go in a 19-inch rack?
This will.
Yes, it looks it, yes.
The Q6 and Q7 won't, because they come in different fader levels. If you see this one's got 17 faders, you've got 16 for your channels and one for your mix. You then go to the Q6, which will be 24, and then an extra one for the mix, so 25 faders, and then the same again for the Q7, so you've got 32 plus one for the mix, you've got 33 on there. And then in terms of the inputs and outputs, that would then follow suit on there. So you've got your combis on there, so there's 16 on this one, and then you'd go to 24 on the Q6 and 32 on the Q7. So you're getting the same kind of form factor of a Q16, and then you'd go chunkier and then chunkier.
Yeah.
As you want more faders.
High sample rates, scribble strips, Dante available as an extra.
Yep.
Which I think is very forward thinking and very cool. Anything else they've changed to the hardware of the device?
Just near where your fingers are, you've got some cheeky layers here as well. So whilst you've got...
I forgot about the motorised faders.
Yeah, they're always sick. Any product, motorised faders just make it so much more premium.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And these are all assignable as well. They're not dedicated to, let's say, you've got these 16 and then these are outputs. You can put them to what you want.
They're speedy as well. Speedy faders.
They are snappy.
Yeah.
And is this just a level going through? Is there something going through it?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, we've just done some aesthetic stuff. I've got some USB. So on the back, you've got USB-C here, and that's going into a reprocession of just some audio feeding through.
One thing I love seeing is just like if there was a blank channel, in case you've never seen this before, and I'd like to see this as well. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
So we go, say we've got a vocal, or take any instrument you fancy on here,
well,
and
we'll
just run through the components that are on there. That'd be lovely to see.
We've got this mic just to your left here.
Yeah.
So that is channel 1, which is 4B, 4YB WYK.
Ozzy's favourite band. Yeah.
Let's change that
from Bristol.
Let's change that to mic again. So this is into local input 1 on the desk.
Yeah.
So what you've got here, you've got your different options at the top that sort of independent on the preamp. So you've got a high pass filter, which you can sort of modify from there, and you can see that's working on the EQ. You've got a gate, so let's say you want to get rid of some noise, ambient noise of crowds and stuff when nothing's playing, you can pop the...
physical control for it.
Yeah, so you've got that can go through there.
Super clear. If you touch that, will it expand the options?
Absolutely.
Amazing.
And then you can see that's changing the threshold, and let's say, I want to change the depth, you tap that, and then you can move the rotary encoder on the right of the screen as well. So that's nice and simple to do. Compression as well. So again, this is independent of the FX engine. This is dedicated to the preamp on there. So again, that will change the threshold again. And then if you want to modify...
So the most important thing they've put on a knob.
Absolutely.
I dig that.
Absolutely. And then EQ is where it gets nice. You've got a little 4-band EQ there for your, you've got your overall width for your Q. You've got the frequency in which it's going to be active for, and then the gain at which it will be set to. So nice and easy without having to go into the channel sort of processing and have to tap through a load of different things. You know, similar to the old Q from that perspective. But it's nice and easy to get to without having to worry about it. But again,
even my Dorset fingers work on it.
Exactly.
What? That's amazing.
Yeah, so you get a nice amount of flexibility
so
on there.
much posher than it used to be.
Yeah,
Crikey,
and I think in terms of the UI as well, it feels comfortable. You know, it's not something where if you're already familiar with the SQ or the CQ, you think, oh, this looks completely different. You know, it's going to feel like you're at home. Because when I first saw this, when you boot it up, you see this Q thing here. Reminds me of SQ straight away and CQ at the same time. So when I'm going through all these and then looking at the options and all that kind of stuff and how it's laid out, it's feeling like both of those mixers kind of combined to make this cool little hybrid, essentially. So
in a pretty unique form factor as well. Yeah,
it looks really nice, and I think anyone that's familiar with the Q16, 24, 32 will be very very happy with how it's kind of how it feels and how it plays.
Hook it up to an iPad or something like that, a tablet. It does all that, right?
Yeah. So it's got a network port. So what you can do through the network port is, let's say, get your local network on there, and then you can go through, there's a QMix pad and Q4U in terms of applications for iOS and Android. So you can go through there for local mixing and all that kind of stuff, similar to what the CQ has from that side. So nice and easy to get that working.
I believe it's a bit like we've got a lot of synth heads out there with lots of line inputs. What are its capabilities as a recording interface, or does it have any internal recording capabilities?
Yeah, well, there's a bit of everything on this one. So on the front here, you can see a cheeky little USB-A type. Yeah. So that can go with your stereo. So let's say you're doing a gig and you want to just hear the stereo output of what's been played. You can pop a USB stick into there, and then that can then just read it, and then it will write to that for a stereo output, just a 2-channel mix. Away you go. Now, if you wanted to dive deeper, what you can do is on the back there's now a SD card slot, just like on the CQ as well. So you can do multi-track on there. So if you want to do multi-track recording, you can do direct from the desk. Let's say everything's going into local, and then that will go straight onto the SD card from there for multi-track. Again, easy peasy. And then the other option, like I've mentioned already with the USB-C, even though the audio is currently playing from the computer into this, you can do it the other way around as well. Nice. So you could record onto
all the channels back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. So this would be a good way. Let's say if you don't have a Dante network, you could have a let's say a reaper session running again, but you're sending, let's say these stems here are for a backing track. You've got one that's going to be a click, one that's going to be drums, all that kind of stuff. You can have it going both ways, kind of thing, from that side. It's all about how you want it to be.
And then if you pay more for the Dante thing, then you've got like all the options in the world.
Well, that's it. I think one thing to mention as well with the differences is, of course, with having 32 channels available to you, the Dante versions only get 16 by 16, so it's kind of half in that, but it's still giving you that extra flexibility to work with other Dante enabled devices in the first place. If you wanted something like Dante Virtual Sound Card, which is the USB-C kind of going into this equivalent, so what you could do is then hook that up to your computer, route it how you want it to into your computer, press record, and it will just send the signal from this via Dante to your computer, you know, or there's the USB-C option from there. So it helps cater to what someone might already have in their system to get it how they want to as well.
Input channels, other boring questions that I think I would ask.
Go.
How many like headphone mixes can I send? I think I used to work in a shop, that's the big one, right? So I see loads of mixes here. Are they all the different mixes we can...
Yeah, so you got 12. How you want to do it is completely up to you, really. So let me...
Do you have like a matrix system where you can...
Yeah, you can do, absolutely. Cool. So what you can do here, if you wanted first of all to, let's say, these are all separate inputs, so you can see 1, 2 to 31 to 32, all set to mono. So you've got 1 to 32, all the singles. What you could do is set channels 1 to 2 as stereo, so they're all dedicated as a sort of
cool
one to the right of them kind of thing. Yeah, so you could pop those into a keyboard, like you say. But let's say we wanted outputs. What you could do is set different mixes to be mono or stereo as well. So you could do up to 9 mixes in total. Mix 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 have to be kind of, when they're stereo, that'll be mix 1 and 2 together, these two.
Okay, cool.
But
so 9, you've got 9.
So you've got 9, yeah, exactly.
That's great.
So what we've got set up here is a quick example. Everything from 7 to 12 is used as like an IEM mix. So what you can see here, as I'm pressing these, you can see the fader levels are changing depending on if it's drums IEM, guitar IEM, vocals IEM. You know, so you've got those different available options to you, and you don't have to have it like that. You know, you could have, let's say, sent to a matrix for a world feed. You know, you've got your different options for matrix, having stereo or mono as well. So whatever you might want, you can get up to be how you want it to be, really. Yeah. And then going back to the layers section, if I go to the setup, there's a little strip assign option here. And this is very similar on the SQ as well, if you've never done this before. But what you can do, this bottom bit here is everything that's assigned to these already. So let's say mic, what we've just been playing with, if I yeeted that way, boom, gone, like magic. If we wanted, so we've got everything up to 16 on there. Oh, I did that accidentally, but there we go. That sees you how quick it is. Bass amp, boom, and it's just, and then you can, as simple as that, move it away. So if you wanted your layer A to be, it could either be the first 16 inputs, for example, or it could be half inputs, half outputs, however you want it. But you've got these all different layers to work with, and you can see, however I go through it on here, even it shows, you know, what do you want where, really. So
unbelievable.
Nice,
unbelievable, Jeff.
Yeah.
In terms of what's going on in the brain of it, what are some of the standout plug? You've only said we've got 6 of these effects rack things. I was well impressed. I think it was over a year ago we last came in. Can we have a little look and see what people might want to load up?
Yeah, Vaganda. So it's break down into different options here. So you can see you've got reverb, delays, modulators, and gated verb. So
reverbs. Let's just look at and lust over these reverbs.
They'll look very similar to what people were familiar with on the SQ line as well. The kind of standard options that you get on there are available on this one as well. You could
even then, when you show me that list. I'm still blown away. To me, we're in the world where you've basically got like every plug-in.
Yeah.
You'd ever like EMT, all of this stuff is amazing. Because a lot of people are spending money on plugins to run on their, like we have the Apollo system, and they're buying like an EMT plugin. And then if you bought an interface, sometimes I think that some people might be better off spending their money on a device like this.
Yeah,
especially for live synthing. If you think, well, I want to buy a Big Sky and a timeline, now that would cost you close to $1,000 for just 2 pedals.
Like you've seen, a lot of it already comes in. You can purchase additional ones.
Oh, is there
there is an option for that. So that's a nice little extra, you know, to give that extra.
So it comes with, I didn't know that, it comes with standard fare.
You've got your standard effects, that you can sort of flick between on these.
That's like H-Select, it's like Waves
and then
ADT?
Yeah, plenty of options to go through, and it's as simple as just pressing that recall button to get it there. And then you've got your dedicated FX sends and returns as well. But these soft keys are quite pivotal as well, I think. So, you know, you can easily get to them and then say, oh, less verb on the mic, and then you can modify that. So nice and quick, nice and easy.
Is it out? Or are we getting a sneaky peek?
This is a sneak peek.
Woo!
So this will, I assume, will go out on release day.
Okay.
So from that perspective, if we're speaking of like future tense, I think it's going to be something that's going to be, you know, really big in the market, because what people love about the Q16, 24 and 32 has now been just exploded into this absolutely amazing new thing.
And they've waited a while. It's been a while.
Yeah, the Q's been, I think, about 12 years.
Yeah.
Well over 10 years, like I say. So
that's what a lot of my questions were. The last time I looked at the Q range, I was still doing it, and I'd happily do it, but I was doing a lot of wedding bands.
Yeah.
And we were piecing together like early in-ear monitoring setups, and this would have been a freaking dream. All right, anything else you want to talk about before we leave these peeps?
There's a couple more bits we could look about. Let's look at some processing. Anyone that knows the CQ will know there's a few cheeky features that were released on that, which were related to auto mic mixing There was it's on SQ as well, but one.
Oh, I do remember.
If you remember that one with the gain share, but there's also gain assist as well. So if we look at this will look exactly the same as to what people would be familiar with on CQ, where if you spoke into that mic and I pressed auto set on the gain, it will then yeah. So if you want so you require a gain of 37 decibels according to those hubbards, and that's independent on the kind of channel from that side.
Yeah.
But what you could do, let's say you had a whole band, again similar to CQ, if you go to utility gain assist. What you got here, you can select all. There's only these ones are selected at the minute purely because everything else is going through USB. So the gain assist is only on the local side of it.
Cool.
If I pressed all those and then press auto set, it would listen to all of those at the same time. So if a band's doing a practice session, all that kind of stuff, then that will do the gain assist straight away, just like that, and then set it for you.
I would be smashing gain assist if I was an engineer.
Yeah.
All the time. I think it feels like it's the buzz thing in these mixers and audio interfaces the last year or so.
It makes it so easy.
But then everyone has got to get with it. So it's cool to see it in there.
Yeah, no, it makes it so easy. And then a similar thing with the Dante version and Dante Virtual Sound Card is if you're sending your audio from the Dante Virtual Sound Card into this, let's say you've recorded the band the night before, they don't need to be there for that sound check. You could do it from there as well. So there's a possibility of just not even using this, but using the possibilities of Dante from there, depending on which mixer you get. So nice and easy from there. This is a cool little thing. Let's say you're using it sort of on the move. You've got this desk and you've got, let's say, a dozen different lectern mics. You've got 12 different people speaking and you want to get these all turned on so they're going to be automatically mixed. Let's say input 1 mic is, let's say it's your chairman.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. So they can get more priority.
He gets plus 15, does Bezos.
So yeah, so he gets everything, and then
Stu West.
Anyone else gets.
Oh no, Stu's got to have a bit more than that. Stu's like right up next to Bezos.
So you could adjust that how you see fit for the helping people get more weight and priority in the overall mix, and let's say in that kind of situation.
Awesome.
So similar again to
AMM, and that stands for Auto Mic Mixer.
Auto Mic Mixer, yeah. Boom.
Back in the day, it was a slog. I used to have to buy all these graphic EQs, like 8 graphic EQs for every wedge I had. Jesus.
Yeah.
This is amazing, man.
Yeah, there's so much on it. So much.
Also, and I was going to say, one of the best things is we might not go on the deep dive of this, but we are a shop. And that means we can not only sell it to you, we can send it to you. You can get it out of the box, try it, live with it. Or if you're anywhere near Guildford, come in, and if you want to sit with it, the guys will hook you up in the store.
Have a tweak.
Get a feel for it, yeah.
Have a tweak.
That'd be awesome.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wicked. Thanks for filming this, Oz, and we'll see you out there in YouTube land. Bye.